Welcome back to another Blue Jackets game reaction. This one's certainly more on time than the last one, as last night the Jackets lost in New Jersey. Final score of 4-3 in overtime to the Devils. And the Blue Jackets, they came back from their Christmas break and they played all of the hits last night. Blown lead. One blown lead would be rookie numbers for this team. Try blowing three separate leads last night to the Devils. They were up 1-0. 2-1 and 3-2, with two of those leads being held in the third period. So I guess you can also mark a check next to the untimely third period collapse box, where late in that game you could tell that the Devils were somehow, some way going to manage to tie that game up and at least force overtime. Did a big piece of the core sustain an injury? You can check that box off too, as Zach Werenski would get tangled with Andre Palat. Werenski had to leave the game, and he was not able to put any weight on his left foot as he left. Didn't look good from the get-go, and today we did get an update from Pascal Vincent saying that the injury looks like it's going to be a week-to-week sort of thing and not a day-to-day sort of thing. So he's not instantly on IR, and it does seem like maybe he'll be back before the end of the season, but just another longer-term injury to another big piece of the puzzle for this Columbus Blue Jackets team. And you can also certainly bet on there being one annoying silver lining that the organization can kind of sort of hang its hat onto, even though they don't really deserve to coming out of the game, and that is that the game did go into overtime and they got a point, so hooray for that. But obviously, there were some actual good things that happened in those 60 minutes of hockey for the Blue Jackets. It wasn't a completely terrible viewing experience as a Jackets fan. You have Chinakhov scoring another goal. He's had a really breakout stretch over these past 10 games or so. He's been on a tear as of late. It was a goal where Chinakhov was able to turn defense into offense, forcing a turnover, creating a breakaway for himself, and getting that goal to go past Vanacek. It looked like it was going to be a game sealer, putting the Blue Jackets up 3-2 late in that third period, but then Luke Hughes making a tremendous play to go coast to coast past the entire Blue Jackets defense, wiring a shot past Merzlikins. And it was a great individual play from Luke Hughes, but the defense also has to be ready for those kind of plays to happen when you're dealing with a very young, very talented player, even as a defenseman. They were certainly caught off guard by Luke Hughes' skill. And again, that's not me saying that Luke Hughes didn't make a tremendous individual play. It's just that I would also like to see the defense be a little bit more prepared for that kind of thing to happen with a team as talented as the Devils are when they're trying to tie the game up and get that goal back. I would like to see the Jackets, maybe try to put at least a little bit of a body on that guy as he's rolling through the neutral zone and into the Columbus zone itself. As I mentioned, Elvis Merzlikins was in net for this one, and for a lot of this game, he did his part in keeping New Jersey off of the board, especially in the second period. In that middle frame, multiple point-blank chances from the Devils that Elvis just simply said no to. But I'm starting to think that Elvis might have a bit of a similar third period and overtime issue that the rest of the team has, however, where he will play lights out as much as he has to for most of the game, and then when it gets into crunch time, I know the rest of the team falters there as well, but Elvis Merzlikins is part of the team that kind of falters and allows those goals to go in, doesn't come up with those huge stops when the team is kind of maybe leaning on his back. Again, probably a bit too much, but still, you would like to see Elvis Merzlikins probably steal a couple of these games that have gone into the third period and gotten tied or gone into overtime. He's been improved, a much needed improvement, but I do feel like he's had similar late game faltering issues that the rest of the team has had as a whole. You had Dawson Mercer also tying the game in the final 5 minutes of regulation at 2 apiece after a Jake Bean clearing attempt failed, although for Jake Bean, it was a pretty good game for him other than that, where he opened the scoring in the first period with some nice work by the fourth line as well, with Brendan Gaunce moving over to center and Olivier drawing in there. Andre Palat would tire later in that first period. He had Justin Danforth scoring the lone goal of the second period after deflecting a David Jiricek shot. But after Zach Werenski went down defensively, it did put a strain on the rest of the D-core. For the Blue Jackets, you had Pascal Vincent leaning heavy on his veterans on the blue line. Provorov, Severson, Goodbranson, and Jake Bean all getting at least 20 minutes of ice time. David Jiricek, for his part, only played 13 minutes and 35 seconds. I mean, at some point, he's going to have to start logging some pretty big minutes. I don't really get the hesitancy to throw him out there, especially when I feel like he's been fairly solid with Provorov on that pairing there. I know Jiricek hasn't exactly been like, all-star worthy or a world beater or anything, but I do feel like David Jiricek has shown the promise of a very young, promising prospect that you'd like to see him have at this point in his career as a Blue Jacket. I do want to see them put maybe a little bit more faith into him when a guy like Zach Werenski goes down, maybe play him and Provorov on that top pair a little more. We'll see how his ice time is handled in the wake of Werenski's injury, however. And then the overtime period also a little strange in its deployment, especially considering that Adam Fantilli did not see the ice at all in this overtime period. Jiricek didn't get on there either. Fantilli hit the ice pretty hard after a play in the game where he was around Vanacek and he got taken down and his head hit the ice, and maybe he was dealing with some injury after that, but he didn't leave the game. He didn't go into the trainer's room and was declared out. And I haven't seen him on the injury report afterwards, so it did kind of feel like he just sort of got stable to the bench. And again, it wasn't exactly Fantilli's best game either, but I would like to see the future face of the franchise, and probably right now your best option at center, at least getting some ice time in that OT period. And the overtime in general for Columbus was just really, really sloppy. Not really an issue of being able to get the puck. They had possession quite often, but it was more so them being able to hold on to it. Just a lot of sloppy turnovers, and the nail in the coffin was Kent Johnson. He had the puck on his stick in a pretty good shooting spot, but it rolled right off to Timo Meier, who went on a breakaway to beat Elvis, and that was the game over goal right there from Timo Meier. The Jackets snatching defeat from the jaws of victory once again. It's been happening over and over and over this season. And with all of these results piling up, these games are kind of already starting to feel like they're being played out of necessity. And it's not even halfway through the year. And that continues tomorrow against the Maple Leafs, who the Jackets in Toronto, they've played each other quite a lot lately. I feel like it's been 3 games within the span of a month, which, it's not the most ridiculous thing, but it has seemed like a little weird that they're playing each other so much as of late. But I guess they won't be seeing each other much after that game tomorrow. So that'll do it for me in this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far into it, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video and you'd like to see more like it. I cover some other teams in Ohio. Maybe you like those videos as well. You can let me know down in the comments below what you thought about this game and how the Jackets could fare in the near future. But once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you at the next one.